It is December 9th, 2018, and you are listening to PlayPSVR, the podcast. Welcome. I am here. This is Alex to talk to you about PSVR. So let's kick things right off the bat like we normally do and talk about some gamer juice, okay? So tonight, my gamer juice is a little juice called loneliness. That's right. As you can tell by your ability to not have your ears bleed while you're listening to this podcast, Adam is gone this week, and with him has gone my thirst. No, to be honest, I'm a little bit under the weather, and so my gamer juice this week is water. I know that's weak sauce. Adam's away on business or something like that. I don't know. I think he's in talks to replace Kevin Hart for the Oscars, so he's negotiating a deal. I don't know. And I've been under the weather and fighting snowstorms and, just a whole lot of fun stuff going on. But we wanted to make sure we got you some quality PSVR content out there for you to listen to so you can indulge and engage and enjoy in the PlayStation virtual reality atmosphere. So, I'm going to take a segment or two alone. I think Adam might join me for the third segment. And if you miss him, you can get your dose of him there. But I don't think we're going to be missing him because, to be honest, me being the only one here, I typically carry this podcast anyways. I'm sure you'll all agree. If you don't agree, of course, leave us a comment like I say. So we're going to start off talking about what I've been playing. So, like I said, I've been a bit sick, haven't been playing too much. VR is one of those things you want to stay away from when you are at risk of vomiting. So I haven't touched too much, but when I finally got myself better, I played a little bit. Not tons of new stuff here, but there's one new game I played, and I'm going to talk to you about that. It is Arcus Path, developed by Dream Reality Interactive and published by Rebellion. Now, keen listeners will recognize the name Rebellion. Yes, they're the people who brought us Battlezone, but the developers of this game and the developers of Battlezone are different. Arcus Path is nothing like Battlezone. Arcus Path is basically kind of like a VR version of Labyrinth, the wooden board game where you have a marble and you twist the knobs to tilt the board and move it around. It's kind of like that. Or Super Monkey Ball if you're more of a gamer, or Marble Madness if you're more of an old school gamer. So in Arcus Path, there's a girl who seems to live in a junkyard, and it looks like aliens come by and drop a VR headset in front of her. And she puts the VR headset on, and somehow she either becomes a little ball or she sees a little ball, and you got to get that ball to the end of a level. You can collect some crystals, you can find checkpoints, but mostly you're just moving a ball through a level. It's kind of like a platformer, and your level of enjoyment with this kind of thing is you can almost tell if you're going to like it watching some footage of it. So Arcus Path, it's a very stylish game. I really like the art design. I really enjoy the sound design. It's kind of got some trance vibes to it with the music and some electronic vibes to it. That's interesting. The levels are varied. I think there's 25 of them. And, they're really pretty. The artistic design is wonderful. But I hate to say it, this game is frustrating for me. And I think the developers went and tried to make a relaxing game, an enjoyable, relaxing, non-stressful game. But Arcus Path has one fatal problem. They chose to control the game entirely through the headset. And you've heard me complain before that I hate when games get too free with the headset. I hate looking around too much with the headset on. I don't like it being a main focus of control. Pop-Up Pilgrims nearly broke my neck in half trying to twist that thing around. The Monkey King movie nearly destroyed my neck, having to spin all around just to watch what's going on and hold my neck at odd angles for extended periods of time. Well, in Arcus Path, the way you move is you have kind of a cursor at the center of your field of view, and you move that cursor by moving your head around, kind of like you would do in Resident Evil or something. And wherever you move your cursor, that's where the ball is going to start moving. And if you move the cursor further away from the ball, so really far to the left, the ball is going to move really far to the left. Now, one of the odd things is that the ball doesn't just move towards the cursor. The cursor ends up being a point on the ground. So if I look on the ground next to the ball is going to start moving on the ground towards where the cursor is. But as the ball moves, of course, my field of view is moving, so the ball will just continue to move and chase the cursor and not ever really approach the cursor. So what happens is as the terrain changes, as you start moving up and down and moving over hills and ramps and things like that, the direction the ball is going to want to move can change pretty quickly, even if you didn't want it to move. because the point on the level that you're looking at can suddenly be in a different direction than you want, can be in a different position with respect to the ball than you intended it to be based on where you were fixing your head. It's hard to explain, but if you play the game for any moment of time, you'll realize this. And this is really frustrating for me. So not only do you have to be very careful and precise with how you move your head when you're playing this game, limiting your ability to look around freely. Now, I will admit, you can hold down the touchpad on the DualShock controller, and you hold it down long enough, and it pauses the game essentially and frees you up to move your head around and look around the level, which is welcome because there's branching paths, and you want to kind of see where you're going if you're looking for like the last crystal or something like that. And then you hold it down again, and it frees you up to move around by looking on the path. But yeah, the game's really pretty, but you're not really liberated to look around. You're not really free to see where you're going, really. And I found myself just being frustrated that I want to go to the left, and I'm leaning my head to the left, and it kind of feels like a weird angle because I can't lean my head too far to the left, because if I do that, the ball's going to start moving at a rapid pace that I won't be able to recover from, because of course the ball has some kind of inertia to it. And just because I start aiming in a different direction doesn't mean the ball is going to aim in a different direction. The physics applies here, where it has to decelerate and reaccelerate, and it'll continue the momentum. It really it's not terrible, but I just can't fathom why they would want to not include like a DualShock option. Maybe they're going for something unique. Maybe the game was too easy with just analog stick control, and I can appreciate that. I liked detached. I like detached for its clunky controls, its sim-like controls, but Arcus Path isn't going for like a simulation ball rolling game, and I don't think they're going for a challenging game either, because the game's rather forgiving. When you fall off the edge, it just kind of teleports you back to the last checkpoint you hit, and the checkpoints are pretty frequent, and you don't miss out on much. So if I collected a crystal and then fell off the edge and went back to the checkpoint, I don't lose that crystal, and I'm free to go along another path to try to find another crystal. So it sounds like they were trying to make a forgiving game for gamers, an accessible game. So I don't know why they didn't just go ahead and make it DualShock controlled. My theory is that they were trying to make a game that has widespread appeal across all VR platforms. So I guess they're going for cell phone game control, like the Gear VR or the Google Daydream, and those don't necessarily have controllers, and they want people to be able to play that. Now, I can understand this game being that, but we have a PlayStation 4. I mean, the DualShock, the button input is part of the game. Just the analog sticks can't be that hard to implement. I'm beating a dead horse here, but the game would be so much better in my mind if I could just enjoy the environment and play the game like a standard rolling ball platformer, and not have to struggle with my head and my neck muscles, getting fatigued because I'm having to be so precise with my head movement and the cursor. So, the controls of this game are really what kill it. The story's interesting. I undersold it with the girl being in a junkyard. A guy comes along and picks up this headset and does something to it, and the girl follows him, and the level changes. And I really like the level designs. It's artistically beautiful. It reminds me of Bound and just how visually appealing these are without being technically amazing. And the sound design honestly reminded me of something like the trance level in Rez, which was always really not something that I listen to normally, but just enjoyable and interesting and just something different. So, even if it wasn't analog controlled, even if you could just control it by tilting the DualShock or tilting a Move controller, kind of like Star Bear Taxi, which at first didn't seem to work, but then it clicked, I would probably like this game a lot more. I'm going to see it to the end. I spent, not tons of time with it, and I got a decent way through. It's 25 levels. I'm anticipating that taking 2, maybe 3 hours tops. There's a time trial mode, so if you collect all of the crystals in each level, if you collect all of the crystals in a level, it unlocks a time trial level for that level. Now, for a game that is difficult to control, and for a game that has such, a pace that seems to be relaxing, I don't know why they included a time trial mode. I guess some people just really want to do time trial. But yeah, that's Arcus Path. Watch some trailer footage of it. If my opinion changes, which apparently it does often, as we might get to later with Adam, then I'll be sure to update you guys. But for now, it's a rough call. It's a rough call. Other games I played, I mentioned it last week, Space Pirate Trainer. I honestly didn't think there was room for another wave shooter on the PSVR, but this is the sharpest and slickest and most respectful of my time wave shooter that I've played. It takes no time to get in the action and just get to blasting with the guns. The guns feel good. They track beautifully. You can pull out a shield. If you reach over your back, you can pull out a shield, and you can pull out in your other hand this like bat that has like a laser whip to it. You pull enemies, you can smash them around the environment. You can pull enemies towards you and then slice them with the bat. You can reflect bullets with the shield. That's fun. It's kind of hard to grab those things. You're supposed to pretend you're reaching on your shoulder like a sword or something like that to get them. It doesn't always register. But the game is really fun because you just basically have two blasters and you can freely select whatever kind of weapon you want. There's 6 different weapon types and you can mix and match, so you can have one in each hand. And the enemies come, so many. I think there's about 50 waves total. It's basically just an arcade score attack type game. There's one level. The enemies don't have a ton of variety to them, but there's enough variety to make things interesting, and they mix them up to make it interesting. And when you die, it's really easy to get back in and try again. I found myself playing much longer than I anticipated playing because I just wanted to do one more, and try to get that score. They got the leaderboard right next to you. Every time you die, you can see where you're ranking. I'm proud to admit I reached number 6 at some point. I doubt I'm still there because it's been a little while and probably more people are playing it, but I'm really enjoying Space Pirate Trainer. I think it might be the best wave shooter on PSVR. I feel like I say that every time I talk about a wave shooter, but it is really, really good. And I think it's only $14.99 normally, and it's probably on sale now for $11.99. Fantastic price. I personally think it's better than Blasters of the Universe. Forgive me, Secret Location. I love you guys, but I think this is slightly better. It's better than The Walker and all those other games too. So yeah, Space Pirate Trainer. I swear by it now. It gets Alex's seal of approval, which I know you guys are looking for every time. And then the other game I played with while my other games were downloading is Tetris Effect. And people are going to hate me. Adam's really going to hate me. I said last week that it just pisses me off and I didn't like it. I played it some more and I think I like it again. I don't know what's going on with this game. It's got this weird effect. It's got a Tetris effect on me where depending on the mood I am in when I play it, that gets reflected in how much I enjoy the game. I was in a relaxing space and I was playing this game and I looked into some of the other game modes like the meditation mode and the marathon mode where I could just play one level at length, for 10 minutes or so or however long I want to. That's a lot more fun than Journey mode. They really shouldn't push Journey mode forward to the top. I will say Tetris Effect is nowhere near as wonderful as Rez. I still don't like it as much as I like something like Lumines, and I really wish Lumines was the game that was in VR. But I can enjoy playing Tetris. And there are also some hidden songs in these modes that aren't in Journey mode, and these songs are really good, and I enjoy them more than I enjoyed some of the songs in the Journey mode. And you can also play some of the playlist mode where they kind of compile songs. So if there's all these, I guess it's space theme songs, you can listen to those. Or all these underwater theme songs, you can play those 4 levels in one go, back to back to back. That's appreciated. So some variety in how the levels are arranged is nice. Again, if you're not interested, if it just seems like it's just Tetris in VR to you, it probably is just going to feel like Tetris in VR to you. So it's, again, a hard game to recommend to everybody. I'm glad I'm kind of coming around on it. I'm going to keep playing it off and on as time goes on because it's $40 is a lot of money for a game, and I talked about it a lot. So I'm sure Adam's going to chew my ear out when I tell him this. I can't wait to find out what he says. I'm sure he's changed his opinion as well, right? Because he's a reasonable man? No, he's not. All right, well, that was a lot of talking for one man. I hope I haven't talked your ear off too much. I'm going to take a quick water break, and then when I be back, we're going to talk about a little bit of news, and we're going to talk about the glut of games that have come out and are coming out over the next week or so. So be ready for that after the break. All right, welcome back. Thank you for obliging me that break. Now, I got some news for you. I don't know if you follow the Game Awards put out by, I think his name is Jeff Keighley. He was a part of G4 and all that stuff. It's kind of the closest thing we have for video games to Oscars, and I think they've kind of classed up the show and take it a bit more seriously than they used to. You know, when these things first happened, it was like sexiest female character and stuff like that. And I think, what was that terrible Grand Theft Auto knockoff, like Streets of LA or something like that, won Game of the Year, and I don't even think it had come out yet. They're doing better now. They're making it real, and you're getting real support from the developers, and you're getting real developers showing up. And so this year they had a VR Game of the Year. I think Resident Evil won it last year. I think Rez won it the year before that. And this year there was a lot of good games. Adam and I talked about it previously. A lot of good games were in the running for it. But the winner, was a PSVR game. PSVR exclusive in Astrobot. Robot Rescue Mission, whatever you want to call it. It's the game we all clamored for after the demo. It's the game everybody loves, unless your name is Adam. And it's a game I think is well deserving of that award. You know, Tetris Effect isn't VR exclusive. I don't think it should have gotten it. Firewall Zero Hour is a good-ish game. It's multiplayer only, more or less. It's more of a tech demo for the aim, I believe, and I think there's good stuff in there, but it's not of the caliber that a game like Astrobot is. We were disappointed that Persistence wasn't even nominated. That's a shame. The Persistence is a fantastic AAA quality game, I believe. But, you know, I'm not going to be upset. Astrobot's a well-deserving winner, and I'm happy that it got the exposure it deserves. I'm just afraid that people might see it and think, you know, I don't really need VR if it's just a better version of Super Mario 64 or something like that. If people played it, they would have a different opinion, but people just watching footage of it on a Game Awards type thing, they're probably not going to have their opinion change too much, and that's a shame. But congratulations, guys. It's a well-deserved win, like I said. So this past week, you know, PlayStation and Sony, they're really they're really bad about getting the word out on the games that are being released. Adam and I cover the drop of all the games that are coming out in the upcoming week, and we try to hit everything. One slipped through the cracks, Rush VR. This is a wingsuit racing VR game. If you don't know what a wingsuit is, look it up on YouTube. It's some of those death-defying videos where guys, it's almost like a flying squirrel suit where they jump off the top of a mountain and they fly down the mountain on this suit that kind of has webbed armpits, like a giant fabric connecting their arms to their legs, and the wind kind of holds them up. It's really, you know, to quote the game, a rush is what it looks like. It looks thrilling. We didn't get codes. We're not playing this game yet. I might get it on sale. Everything I've heard about it is great. People say it's kind of like an SSX style game, so I'm sure there's tricks. You're racing down a mountain, and you know, real people who do real wingsuiting and parachuting have attested to its, the rush that you feel and the enjoyment of it and how authentic it feels. So that's a good note as well. I really enjoyed Ultra Wings. That made me want to get an ultralight and go flying around. This will probably make me want to buy a wingsuit. These kind of games are things you wouldn't expect would be as phenomenal as they are in VR. So I'm going to look into it. I might get it. You know, we got so many games to play. Who knows what I'm actually going to touch next? But it's something I'm really interested in. So Rush VR, it came out. It's $24.99 is the base price. I think it's on sales, which I'll get into later. But other than that, we got some other games coming out this week. We got a heavy hitter coming out this week. Unless you've been under a rock, you should know that Borderlands 2 is coming out on VR. Yes, I know. The multiplayer is not coming out. We all love the multiplayer. Let's get over that. Let's just imagine it never had multiplayer. Borderlands 2 is a fully realized world in the Borderlands universe. I played Borderlands 1, mostly single player. I enjoyed it, and it had half of the personality that Borderlands 2 does. Borderlands 2 is a really enjoyable game. I've played halfway through on the PS Vita. I've played the rest of the way through on the PS4. Didn't really touch the DLC too much, but that's okay. I played Tales from the Borderlands. These are funny, well-written games, and the characters are likable, and the environment is sprawling and interesting, and the gameplay is addicting with the shoot and the loot mechanics, and I'm really excited to play this in VR. I don't need somebody with me to mess with my VR experience. You know, they're going to have smooth locomotion. You can use a DualShock. You can use the Move controller. You can dual wield, which is going to be great. I don't need the aim. The aim would be great in this, but I'm fine not having the aim. I'm going to be all right with that. I'm not going to nitpick. I'm just happy that we're getting a big game It's one of the games I was asking for before E3. If you listen back that far, so it's coming out. It's going to be $50. That's a big ask, but I think it's going to be worth it. I really hope the developers are making this a quality game, because if this doesn't get pulled off just right, it's going to be quite a blow to the PSVR community and their hopes for getting real AAA titles and real ports of really fun games that we want. Skyrim VR was a great start. Doom VFR was good, but kind of a letdown in some aspects. We've gotten some other flat game ports that have been real disappointments. Wipeout was an excellent move. I think this is going to be good. I'm probably going to take the dive and get this. Another game coming out this week, Gungrave VR. It's like two games, Gungrave VR, Gungrave VR UN. I don't know what this is. I mean, I don't know what the two-game deal is. I know what Gungrave is. I played Gungrave on the PS2. It's a very basic arcade shooter, but I was in the mood for arcade shooters then. I might be in the mood for an arcade shooter in VR, but I watched video footage of this game, and it just looks janky, and Gungrave was always stiff. This game looks stiffer than it used to. The stylish mechanic that it was going for back in the day on PS2 just kind of doesn't hold water now, because we've seen so many stylish games since Gungrave came out that have just gone far and away better. They've actually put really good game mechanics and meshed it with that stylish mechanic. So I don't have high hopes for this. Also, it's $39.99 for all of it coming in one pack. That's really expensive. There's also some first-person... So it's a third-person arcade-style shooter. There's some first-person shooting stuff that just looks absolutely horrendous. So don't get too pumped for this. But if you're a Gungrave fan, I know it's kind of got like an anime following too. You might be into it. I don't know. Maybe it's an excellent game, and I'm just watching bad people play this game. So we'll see what all the reviews shake out. I don't think we're going to be reviewing it, but who knows? If we do, we'll come back at you soon with an opinion on it. Another game coming out, Red Matter by Vertical Robot. So this game, I watched a trailer for it. It seems really reminiscent of games like Downward Spiral or Detached, and what's it called? The survival game. I forget what it's called. I'm sitting here acting like I'm going to think what it is. I don't know. The survival space game, Solus Project. Bam, got it. It looks like that kind of game. It seems like a first-person adventure type, puzzle type game. There's not like shooting or enemies to fight, but you're kind of going around a space station solving problems. I think you're on a planet, you're on a moon of Saturn or something like that. So that's going to be interesting. That stuff's always thrilling to me, and it always, has a weird effect on me when I'm out in space and I see these giant planets near me. And I'm a sucker for space stuff in VR, so I'm looking forward to this. The story seems interesting. I like there's like audio chatter going on when you're solving puzzles. I can get into this. So I think we're getting a code of it. I think Adam might be playing it, so that's unfortunate, because who wants him to play this game? You want the real opinion from me. But that's coming out. Looks interesting. I hear it's kind of short, though, and I don't know the price point just yet. But if you liked Horus Station, Downward Spiral, or Detached and stuff, this is one to look out for. I'm hearing good things about it. Another interesting game, Richie's Plank Experience. Now, this is a game that is exactly what it sounds like, a plank experience. You go to the top of a building and you walk out on a plank, and then you fall off the plank, and you do it all in VR. I don't think there's much to that component of the game. I think the entire thing is like a 5 to 10 minute experience, probably something you share with your family to just kind of freak them out. I can respect that. Hopefully they're not asking for too much for like a 5-minute tech demo, but they have another mode where you're flying through buildings, flying through skyscrapers, and putting out fires on top of a building. That has me interested. So the plank thing's cool. It might be scary, whatever. I do it a couple times, I'm done. This might be fun. Flying around in buildings, and I think the locomotion is you hold down a button and the move controllers are kind of like your jetpacks pulling you along. That can be really interesting. So it might be on rails, which wouldn't be as fun, but if it's not on rails and you're actually freely flying around, that would be awesome. I don't know what the price point is on this either. I'm kind of interested. It seems neat. The developer's active, so we'll see how that goes. Another game coming out, Smash Hit Plunder. It's been out in the UK and Europe for a while, but I don't know much about this game. It looks like you just go from room to room in like a castle and destroy things to try to collect gold. Kind of basic premise here. Maybe it's fun. The controls look really wonky and not too fun, not too comfortable, I should say. But we'll see. Smash Hit Plunder. I've heard people enjoy it. It doesn't look like my kind of thing, but it might be great. Now this one's confusing. That acclaimed game, Prey, has had some DLC like Moon Crash, which is like a roguelike, and now they have this DLC called Typhon Hunter, and it's a VR DLC. And I've heard two conflicting things. I've heard one that it's like a multiplayer game, multiplayer hide and seek, where one person plays like the human, and then 5 other people play these little robots who can inhabit objects or clone objects and make themselves look like an object. And you're supposed to the human is supposed to find those people and figure out which objects are fake, and then shoot the aliens or whatever. That sounds really awesome. If there's a multiplayer people here. The other game just sounded kind of like an adventure or something like that. I couldn't figure out exactly what people were describing it as, but it didn't sound as fun as this. Also, I don't know if this is standalone, if I can just buy it outright. I checked the PlayStation Store. I haven't seen anything. I would be really interested in this, like a multiplayer Prey in PSVR. Even just the hide and seek component, that'd be really fun. I heard that maybe the DLC is free if you own Moon Crash. I own Prey and Moon Crash on the PC. I don't own it on the PlayStation 4. It's going to suck to have to buy all that again just to get the VR version. So hopefully you can get it standalone. I'd gladly pay money for that. I don't want to have to buy Prey all over again. Maybe I can contact Bethesda and be like, listen, I already bought your game on PC. Don't make me do this again, guys. Who knows? Another game coming out. This one slipped way under the radar. I can't even find who the developers are of this game. I saw a trailer and it popped up their symbol, but I don't know who that is. It's Warbot Gravity Strike. And so this game, they tell you is that this game is a robot fighting game that's controlled via mapping. Whatever that means. I'll tell you what it means. Have you seen Real Steel with Hugh Jackman? You know at the end of Real Steel with Hugh Jackman, where Hugh Jackman wears these robot gloves that control the punches, that do the controls of the robot that's in the ring. So, he punched ringside and the robot punched in the ring. This is what that is. This, if pulled off right, if done well, if they wanted to make a good game, this would be awesome. It's a fighting game, one versus one fighting game, talking Marvel versus Capcom or Mortal Kombat type thing, that kind of fighting. But it's controlled by you actually being in your view from the side, punching and swiping and grabbing and doing all these moves. I would really enjoy this if they can pull it off. I haven't heard too much hype about it, but it could be really interesting. So I'm looking forward to figuring that game out and trying to play it. I'm a sucker for Real Steel. I'll admit it's a movie that made me cry. Don't ask me about it. I don't want to explain it. I'm already embarrassed, but I'm going to reveal that to you guys. All right, moving on to the sales. There's not much going on sales-wise this week. It's a pretty empty week in terms of sales. Maybe I missed a big sale and just didn't report on it. Sneaky Bears is $7.99. I know some people like that game. Another wave shooter. I don't know. If you're looking for Sneaky Bears and you've been interested in it, maybe now's time to pick it up. Space Pirate Trainer is $11.99. You got to get it at this price. It is well worth it. It's so good. Rush VR is $19.99, down from $24.99. That's apparently a good price. I don't know. I can't give you an honest opinion of it just yet. It's going to be that price, I think, until the 18th. So if you want it, you should hop on it. But, maybe watch some videos, read some reviews or something. And then Kona VR bundle is $7.99. I thought this game got a good reception when it first came out. I haven't played it. Seems like another kind of puzzle/adventure game. Apparently the developers abandoned it after release, and people are now saying it's terrible. Maybe the controls suck or the graphics are blurry or something. I'm not sure. So if you're interested, it's on sale now. I'm not going to get it. I'm not going to recommend you get it. But if you want it, look into it now. Don't wait. You might lose your chance. Well, that's it for the sales. That's it for the news and the upcoming games. That's it for segment 2. And that's it for Solo Alex on PSVR, the podcast. I'm going to record with Adam, I think tomorrow, and it's just going to seamlessly go into that. So when you get to the other side of the break, it's going to be a brand new day, baby. And it's going to be Alex and Adam once again. Hopefully Adam has good things to say. I hope he has good news about being on the Oscars. I think he'd be a wonderful host on the Oscars. That being said, see you after the break.
Baby's got back, baby's got back. Baby's got back, baby's got back. And I got a back. That's how it goes, right, Alex? Baby's got back?
That's exactly how it goes, Adam. It's good to have you back, and it's good to be able to see you're back. How are you doing, Adam?
Dude, I got back, and babies got back, so we got back together. And what the listeners, so we've been working on a little something here, listeners, in that Alex and I, for a little while, have wanted to do this podcast, but take a video so that it could almost be like a talk show in addition to the podcast. So essentially we're doing the podcast, but we're also recording videos of ourselves so that on YouTube we can upload us looking at each other and interacting and talking. And as Alex rambles on, you can see me look at my phone, distracted, and things of that nature. And so this is our dry run. So Alex really can see my back.
Yeah, it looks great, Adam. Why? But, it's kind of hairy.
Well, I mean, I'm a man. It's not – he's lying. I have a shirt on. I'm not hairy. Anyhow, so, yeah, it's good to be back. I'm actually afraid at this point in the podcast that we don't have any listeners left because after you have been talking for 2 segments, they probably up and left. Like, this guy sucks. I can't trust him. He's boring. He sounds like a bore. Do you think there's anyone left listening at this point in the podcast?
Adam, I go into the podcast thinking that the only person listening is you, and that's why I really lay it out there. I really try to lay it on you and get you to, oh, sorry, you and your mom's listening. Adam, how's your mom doing?
I don't know. You tell me. Boom! Oh, man. What's the comeback there, Alex?
There's nothing, man. There's nothing. Let's just move on. They're tired of this. They're tired of this jibber jabber, Adam. Let's move on.
Okay, so first, as always, I want to start with my gamer juice. I'm assuming you've probably already started with yours.
Mm-hmm.
But mine, you're going to have to help me here. Kefir, it's Kefir. Do you know what this is?
Adam, you've stumped me. This is the first time I don't know what you're talking about for real.
Holy crap. Well, yeah, it's a low-fat kefir or whatever. It's cultured low-fat milk smoothie. So I got this because it's supposed to be relatively healthy. Is
it like a yogurt?
It's oh wow, yeah. It's a lot more of a yogurt than I thought. I was thinking, smoothies are actual liquids, so I was like, that's a gamer juice. This is gamer yogurt.
So I told you what happened to me earlier this week, Adam. Are you rubbing it in my face with the whole fruit smoothie thing?
I don't know, but this is like I'm taking it right out of the goat's tit. Dang. That's thick. It really is. It's like straight up yogurt. It's like a Danable. It's even more thick than a Danable, man. It's strawberry, though, and although it's a little weird, it's very good. Plenty of carbs, calories. I'm not even getting into that because that's not what the listeners want to hear. So I'm drinking kefir, whatever the F. So it is very good. So if you guys see it in the grocery market or something, there are plenty of different brands. So feel free to get that bad boy because it's good. So, yeah, this past week, the reason I was on the first 2 segments, I don't know if Alex mentioned, I was gone for 10 days without my VR. I went on a work trip for some training, and so I'm back better than ever. And
so did you get the gig? I told them that you were away interviewing to replace Kevin Hart to be the host of the Oscars this year. Did you get it? Did you get the gig?
Well, the thing is, I led with the Baby Got Back a bit. That's why I sounded so good. I'm waiting on a callback. I haven't heard anything yet.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So, Adam, we've both been away and come back to play VR. I want to get your take on what it's like to go without VR for like 10 days and come back because you've played since you've been back, right? I'm not getting you totally dry, am I?
No. So it was weird because after I left, the first 2-3 days I was in denial. I was like, I need VR. I want VR. What am I going to do with my time? F me. Because here's the thing. I understand playing video games in a lot of respects is what someone would consider, I even consider it somewhat of a waste of time. But the thing is, if I'm going to spend that same time watching football or watching Netflix or not doing anything necessarily, then I would rather waste time, quote unquote, with playing video games, because at least I'm interacting and in a sense experiencing something, than sit there and watch 5 hours of Netflix, you know? So I had to find a way to, I mean, I was in a hotel room by myself. So yeah, I started watching Baskets, which is, it's on Hulu, and it's not great.
I really,
So I started,
I really like that show. But yeah, okay.
I literally was going to tell you afterward that I thought you would like that. Anyhow, so I had to do other things to fill that time, and so like I said, the first 2-3 days I was in like denial and it sucked. And then I got into the point where I was like, okay, yeah, I'm watching TV. I started watching Whose Line Is It Anyway and doing other stuff, and I was okay. Then I got back, and it took a little while to get back into it, honestly, because it really does take some some motivation. It's not like I can just sit back on the couch and play VR. Like, you're actually doing something. And so I was surprised that it took me, I mean, it took me about a day and a half before I was like, I'm going to be on the podcast. I really need to play something. We got a couple games this week to review, and I was like, I have to do it. Otherwise, like, I just got lazy, where I feel like playing VR isn't lazy. So, it was an interesting, but after playing some Beat Saber, I'm all the way back. I'm ready to rock and roll.
Yeah, that's a good point. Maybe I haven't quite caught up. Since I left for a trip and came back, I haven't really gotten my feet under me. I've been really busy catching up with work and just everything at home, and I've barely had time to play VR. And you bring up a good point that it's not just like sitting on the couch playing a game. You gotta. There's some doing to it. You gotta have a certain amount of energy to put into playing these games. Which it sounds so stupid that we're complaining about, like, oh, we're too tired to play video games. But I'm realizing that if I'm too tired, I'm not going to have a good time playing VR, and it's really frustrating because sometimes the only time I have is at the end of the day when I am tired. But what have you been playing, Adam? Because do you want to talk about them now, or do you want to save it for next week? What's the deal?
We'll just save it for next week, because I've played a little bit of Guns and Stories. I just downloaded Red Matter, haven't played it yet, and then I played some Beat Saber. So nothing too much that I feel like I could really report. Guns and Stories is a freaking wave shooter, F my life. Red Matter, I've heard good things, and Beat Saber is always good. So
Beat Saber still holds up. It stands the test of time in the sense of like 1 month.
So far, even better, because when I took a break, I kind of forgot about the songs and things. And when you play a long time in a short period of time, you have to play the songs over and over, and eventually they may start to lose their luster. But once you take a little break, going back to that music, I was like, holy crap, are they good? And I actually performed better too, which is, I guess, a little strange. But yeah, no, it's good. You still need to get it. Everyone needs to get it.
You're a little performer, Adam. What I want to talk to you about, Adam, is I played this past week. You talked about it last week. Affected the Manor. It's more or less like an on rails walking through a mansion thing. There's not much to do, and I was nervous. I heard that this game was really scary. You said it wasn't scary. That's kind of what got me started because, like you said, I'm kind of a princess when it comes to these scary games. And I was nervous at first playing the game. It looked like it was going to be really scary. But then, you know what? You were right. There were parts that were obviously trying to be scary, but they just weren't scary. Things like, furniture floating in the room, and, there's monsters that you see. And so that's not scary because I see it. And I'm wondering, these are things that if I was watching a movie, I might be kind of scared seeing it in a movie when somebody has more direct control over what I can see and do. But why isn't this scary, and why is something like Resident Evil scary? Do you have any thoughts on that?
So I think I mentioned last week, my biggest issue with it was that it was so slow developing. And I could sit there and you could see the things happening. You could see the little I don't want to spoil anything. I figured by now if anyone's going to play it, they already have. But
just spoiler warning. If you're listening and you want to play Effective the Manor with no spoilers, it's not a story-heavy game. This is a little spoiler warning. You jump ahead 5 minutes, we'll be done talking about it.
Okay, fair enough. So there's that one time where the girl was coming up to scream and it blew a lot of the furniture out of the room and things of that nature. Like, you could slowly see her come up, which it was designed that way. Okay, you knew she was going to get close to you, and you knew that she was going to either jump right up in your face or do something that was going to cause a stir. The same thing with the little doll, the little baby, or whatever it was. It was like the doll boy or whatever. He kept moving spots in the room, and eventually you knew, okay, he's going to do something that's going to be creepy. The only thing that made me jump was that one hallway where the birds came through the window.
Yeah.
And even after redoing that, if you were paying attention, you could even see the birds coming through the window. Just the first time I was so focused on the walls and the floor and stuff, I didn't see it. So it's just all so slow developing, and I don't think that makes for a good VR game. Also, although they used a lot of different tactics or a lot of different themes to scare you in terms of they used dolls, they used ghosts, they used jump scares, they used like psychological and psychologically weird things. I like how they mixed it up, but they didn't do any of it well, I guess. But, I mean, I don't even know if this was meant to be a Resident Evil 7 scary type of game. If so, they failed.
Well, yeah, it just seemed like the focus was to be scary, and I was wondering why I wasn't so scared going through this. And it just seemed like it's missing an element of, like, unsettling. Like, there's nothing in it that's unsettling. It's all jump scares. Like, the owls bursting through the windows, yeah, that's startling, but it's not scary. It's not scaring me. So, I don't really know. I don't know what their deal was.
Yeah, I don't. I mean, like I said, it was good for people who are first timers to PSVR, but I just don't see. I don't see playing as a seasoned PSVR person, and I didn't think it was that great. And I think if you're used to PSVR, I wouldn't really buy it. But I think that's the big thing. It was just too slow developing. You think about the scariest scenes in Resident Evil 7. Or The Persistence, or Home Sweet Home. It was that creepy environment, but then things happened that you didn't expect, and they happened very rapidly. They were very abrupt. You didn't see them coming, and because of that, it kept you on edge the entire game, and that is what makes those games special. Whereas the Manor was shorter. It was an experience, so you kind of knew that something was. Also, they told you it was going to have jump scares. Maybe if they didn't say that, I don't know. It is what it is. But yeah, I think for a good horror game, it needs to be abrupt. It needs to be unsettling. It needs to keep you on your toes. It needs to be dark. It needs to have great environments that aren't too grainy or too video game-ish. Like, it needs to be immersive. And I mean, more psychological, the better. But I mean, that's a personal side note. If you don't like dolls or Jason Voorhees or whoever you don't like, that's going to be a personal preference on your part.
Adam, I think you're asking too much of these developers. I think you're like the little princess laying on the mattress with the pea underneath. I forget what princess that is. Anyways, moving on, Adam. I'm not making any sense. There was some news that came out in between me recording last segment when I discussed news and this segment where you finally joined me. This is the day after. Apex Construct. It's getting new DLC, man. I thought they had abandoned this game. They're getting the Signia Cup. The Signia Cup. Do you know what this is, Adam? Have you read about it?
I have. I actually almost played it, but I didn't because I played Beat Saber. So essentially, it's an online mode in which you can go shoot targets, and it's a competitive platform in which you can rack up points and face each other globally. At first, I thought it was going to be multiplayer, and I was a little disappointed in the fact that it's not. It's just another mode where you can rack up high scores, defeat enemies, shoot targets, things of that nature, and then climb up the leaderboards and compete in that way. So I still think it's pretty cool that they added that. I still say even with that addition, I think my original review I gave an 8, and I think it's very well right there. So, I mean, very good game. If you haven't played it, I would. And, I mean, that's just a little more nugget that I'm not going to put a ton of more time in it, but heck, it's free, it's new, might as well play it.
Yeah, one of my least favorite things about Apex Construct was that, not least favorite things, but there just didn't seem like there was enough combat in the game. And now this seems like a combat-focused version of the game, and I can attack the scoreboards and try to get high scores. I like to basically break the top 10 and then drop a game. I feel like I'm done with it then. But this gives me a reason to go back to Apex Construct. I need a reason to go back to it. I liked the game, and it had a terrible ending, and I want to get that taste out of my mouth and make me enjoy the game again and have a good memory. And this looks like what is going to be doing. You know, you're going to be in 6 locations in an arena, apparently. They're going to have increasing difficulty levels. There looks like it's going to be waves of enemies coming at you. So kind of a wave shooter type thing. But you get different arrows, and you got to be strategic with your placement and stuff. I haven't tried it yet. I'm looking forward to trying it. You know, props to Fast Travel Games for continuing to support this game. I'm really surprised by this. They also, you know, fixed some glitches here and there, made the movement a bit better, made you less likely to get stuck on the levels and things like that. So that's a nice improvement. It's good that they're still working on it. I honestly don't understand why people are working on games that are like a year old, but I will always support it. That's a fantastic thing for them to do. Adam, what would you rather us challenge each other in, this or in death?
Well, that one's tough. I feel like probably in death. I think that's a little more comprehensive. It's a little more fun to play, although it takes a lot more patience. So there's that. But yeah, I think of the two, in death is the way to go.
What's the tally right now? How many competitions have we had where is it just the Tetris Effect competition where I've got you beat? And we need to have another competition, Adam, to decide, I don't know, who has to watch Monkey King again. What's it going to be? Is it going to be in death? Are we going to do that?
Well, technically, I don't know if it was really a competition, but I beat you into the top. So
that's not the same. It was not a gauntlet thrown, man. Dude, the gauntlet was thrown in Tetris Effect.
Do you want to go at me? Because I will destroy you into the top.
No, I don't want to. It's not the same. It's not worth. I haven't beaten to the top. You platinumed it. That's different.
It's exactly the same. It's
different.
You and I are fighting stride by stride, blow for blow, blowy for blowy, handy for handy. We're down the stretch. Boom. And
all right. Moving on.
You're scared?
Moving on with this gross discussion that you're trying to take us down. Adam, I played Tetris Effect again, and I told you last week, I told everybody last week, I didn't like it. I played it again this week. Adam, I think I like it again. How does it make you feel when I tell you that I think I like Tetris Effect again? Hold on. I do want to preface, I don't think it's as good as Rez. It's not that quality, not that tier of game, but I'm back. I'm kind of back on the Tetris Effect train, man. I got some avatars over the weekend. I played some of that, weekend leaderboard stuff, the world competition, and I found some new music tracks that weren't in journey mode that I kind of dig. I did a speed mode where you try to get like 40 lines as fast as possible, and it's getting its hooks in me. Are you wanting to play it some more too? Do you want to play with me?
No. And this is the reason I hate you. And this is the reason people shouldn't trust you. Is that you see a bad game, you realize it's a bad game, and for whatever reason, you revert back. I don't know how you could flip-flop. I don't know. You went from absolutely couldn't wait for the game, and then you were disappointed, and in just 1 week, you flop back and you like it again. Nothing has changed. It's always been the same, and I still think I haven't touched it. It's overrated. I'm not playing it. It's not good. There's too many other good games. I'd much rather play Beat Saber. I'd much rather play To the Top. I could go on. You have Borderlands 2 coming up this week. You can't be wasting your time on these stupid Tetris Effect-like games. The only thing that makes me want to go back, and honestly, while I'll probably still play it some, is because I feel bad I paid $40 and I don't want to waste that by not playing it at all. That is the only thing keeping me even remotely interested on this piece of crap game. Okay, I won't say piece of crap. I'll say on this game. How about that?
You're a rude boy, Adam. You're a rude boy. But being a rude boy, I'm sure you have a grievance. Was that your grievance, Adam? Did we just skip over the introduction of it? Or do you have an actual grievance that you want to air this week?
Oh, I have a grievance.
Okay,
I
well,
have a
let's do
grievance.
it. It's time to air the grievances, Adam. So hit me with it. What's your grievance?
This is actually hilarious because it's a wonderful introduction, and we didn't even set this up, everybody. So my grievance is you, Alex, and that was before I even knew about this Tetris Effect thing. You flip-flop more than a fish out of water, and that makes me angry because Tetris Effect, there's nothing that you could have played that should have made you change your mind. It's been the same since day freaking one. It's been the same since you played the demo. Anyhow, so Tetris Effect, you're stupid. It's overrated. It's still like a good game, but that's about it. The other thing I have, it must just be a Tetsuya thing, dude, because I went on this trip. I was going to be on the plane in the airport, and you told me this. How many times in the past 2 years have you told me Lumines, man? Lumines. Oh, Lumines is so good. Lumines is what's got me in games. The music in Lumines. The games in Lumines. The backgrounds and the artwork of Lumines. How many times have you mentioned Lumines and just not – what's that stupid word? F me, man. Stupid word. Gosh gollied over it? Is that it? I don't know. How many times have you gosh gollied over Lumines?
I don't know, 3 times? Maybe 4?
3 times 90, maybe. So Alex has been telling me all the time how great Lumines is. It's fantastic music. The gameplay is riveting. The backgrounds of these blocks is awesome. The way it incorporates you into the game is incredible. It's res style. It's amazing. So I went out of my way to get this game. And thankfully, thank gosh, I only paid $2.50 for it. And even at that, I paid $2.50 more than it's worth because the game is trash. It is horrible. It is one of the most boring games I've ever played in my life. I would rather play Stunt Kite Masters for 24 straight hours, not even for charity, just to do it, than play Lumines again a single time. The music sucked. I thought it was good. I don't know. I played it and it was just bad. The music was bad. And the way Lumines works, if you haven't played it, and if you haven't, please, if you don't listen to anything, please listen to me here. Don't play it. But there's a challenge mode, and you have to play it to unlock new music, which is the only thing to keep going and trying to do in the game to unlock new, what they call skins, which is essentially backgrounds and music. And so you have to keep playing that and progress further to open new music and things. But the thing is, you hear the same effing songs over and over. There's that first song called Shinin'. Oh my, I could have really ripped out the esophagus of an infant child. I was so sick of hearing that song. Like, it was just shinin', shinin', shinin'. It was horrible. Like, it literally sounded like someone put a little pig's wiener in my ears, both of them at the same time. It was awful. And you just have to keep playing it. And the thing is, it's not like, oh, I had to play through in Tetris and I spent 5 minutes and it was, I had a rough game. I have to replay it. But, like, these games last 40 minutes and you get to the end, and if you don't progress past a certain level, which isn't easy, then you did it all for nothing. Really, it was a horrible game, Alex. I hate you. I cannot believe you hyped this game up so much. I don't even see what you see in it. It's just bad. The gameplay is horrible. It doesn't make sense. There's no tutorials. Seemingly the rules change based on, I don't know what they change. Some of the songs have stupid words coming up in the middle of in front, in the foreground of the block, so you can't see them. The music is bad. I don't know, you're talking about the visuals. What visuals? There's freaking blocks. It's horrible. It's stupid. Some of the blocks they change so that you can't, it's hard to see. Like, it's hard on your eyes. It really is horrible. I will never play a game again. I was so excited. I went to the used game store. I made the guy go in the back and take out extra PSP games. I was like, my buddy really says Lumines is really good, and I really want to play it because I like Rez, and I heard it's like Rez, and Tetsuya makes good games, and like I really want to play that game. Can you check it out in the back? He went back there, brought out these boatload of games. We scattered them all on the counter. It took like 35 minutes. I found it. I was so excited. Got to the airport, couldn't wait, popped that puppy in, and then it just took a big old load in my mouth. I would rather eat a ghost pepper, nibble on it, and just like chew it in my mouth for at least 35 minutes and then give myself a blowjob. Which, if you guys haven't known, if you touch like a pepper and then go pee, it hurts. It does not feel good. It burns. And that's what I would rather do with a ghost pepper than play that stupid effing game again. Screw you, Alex. Your game recommendations suck. That's what I think. And you're my airing of grievance. Tetris Effect is average. Lumines sucks. And no one should trust you.
I'm sorry to hear that, Adam. I really enjoyed Lumines.
You're not sorry. I can see it in your face.
So if you're disappointed with Lumines, you should try another Tetsuya Mizuguchi game called Every Extended Extra for the PSP. It's got these great visuals and the music is wonderful. And it's, kind of a puzzle game, but it might be just what you're looking for. So go back to your game store and see if they have a copy of it, okay?
That's literally what you said about Lumines. Almost everything about that.
Is it? Is it? Of course it is, Adam. That's the joke. Way to sell.
Dude, you're like, if you like Rez, you'll love this. No, it sucks. And you suck.
Thanks, man. It's good to have you back. It was lonely these past 2 segments without you. My grievance, Adam, is VR nausea. We don't really have to deal with this too much. We're pretty seasoned. We got our VR legs under us. We don't get sick too easy. But let me tell you, man, I've been sick the past week, and playing VR when you're sick, it is dangerous. Every little movement that I make just makes me want to, I don't know, it gives me like a headache, and it just makes me feel like I'm going to puke, but it's not like puke like your stomach, like you ate to the bed. It's like puke from like your core, like your soul wants to vomit, but your soul can't vomit because your soul doesn't have contact with the food that's in your gut. I don't know. I don't have much to say on it. This is my grievance this week is VR is not something that I can do when I'm not at, my peak performance, which I normally am. Normally I'm at the human athletic peak, the human mental peak, human physical peak. That's me, 99% of the time. But this past week I've been, a little bit deteriorated, and I can't play VR because of it. And it's just disappointing. There's nothing that can be done about it. Change the comfort settings, snap that turn, do some of that teleportation movement. It's not going to fix it. When I'm out of it, I'm out of it. And VR is not going to bring me back in until I'm all better. But I promise you, Adam, I'm going to drink a lot of water. I'm going to get a lot of sleep. I'm going to think about you when I'm sleeping. And I'm going to come back strong, ready to rock, playing some Borderlands 2, because I'm going to have my VR legs back, baby. I'm going to have them back. Adam, do you get sick when you play VR ever? Have you ever gotten sick playing VR?
No, not even remotely close.
Not even once?
No.
I think I got sick playing playing Battlezone with you once. I think I told you.
I don't remember. It wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah. I almost think that this could be like a suitable form of torture if you wanted to torture somebody, is like strap the VR headset on their head and then just like do whatever it is that makes VR make you sick. It really hurts you in your core. It's nuts. Anyways, that's enough for my grievance. I don't think you have anything you want to say about my nausea, do you?
You suck. You probably nauseous because you like somehow your existential crisis or something. I don't know. You suck. It's probably
existential.
I knew a bunch of your body, your soul felt the pain that I had to go through because of Lumines, and that's probably why you got sick. It was like, oh, we did that man dirty. Oh, we feel real bad. I'm gonna make
existential.
Existential. You're right. Okay, so Alex sucks, but one person who doesn't is Delpho. So he put a little note on episode 43 of our podcast on our website, and we appreciate that, as we always do. He said that he enjoyed the podcast. I don't know if you got to read it, Alex, but yeah, he said he enjoyed it. He loves the contrast between you and I, the humor we bring to the podcast. He probably likes how you make my life miserable. Honestly, it was probably last week. Remember all those sweet one-liners I hit you with? I'm sure that, no doubt, was it. But I'm glad you liked them, Delpho. Thank you for the thoughts. and really amping up my confidence because I'm just going to come out firing again next week. But he said a couple times that he actually lost control and laughed too hard. He got attention of his coworkers and I guess maybe felt a little embarrassed because he was just laughing when other people were sitting there working. But let me tell you, Delfo, let me tell you what to do. Because this hopefully has happened in the past to other people. And this is what I do when I listen to the podcast and I laugh on how stupid Alex is. First thing, unplug the headphones. Second thing, take the volume dial of either your phone or your computer, wherever you're listening on, and crank it up. Because let me tell you what, the world needs to hear this, dude. VR fans, non-VR fans, whether you're a nanny, tranny, or have a big fat fanny, you need to hear this. VR is where it's at, and if you ain't on the train, you're going to get trucked. So you better get on board. Unplug those headphones, crank up the dial, and let the world hear, baby.
All right. Yes. Thank you, Delfo. And thank you all the listeners that leave us comments. You know, we love to hear it. It makes us so happy. Basically, I'm just doing PlayPSVR for the validation that I get from the listeners. That's all. I don't like talking to Adam. I don't even like video games. I just like hearing you guys say you like hearing us talk. So keep it coming, baby. That's what I need, man. That's what I need in my life. That's what's going to get me over this VR nausea. It's going to get me over the hump of having to deal with Adam. All right. Well, that being said, that is it for Play PSVR, episode 44. Thank you for listening this week. And be sure to share this with your family and your friends and even some of your lovers, only the lovers that you like, not the lovers that you hate. Be sure to follow us on Twitter at PlayPSVR. Catch us on Twitch at PlayPSVR. Join us on Facebook. We got a Facebook group. You can watch this podcast on the Facebook group at PlayPSVR. Like and subscribe to us on YouTube. Guess what? Our name is Play PSVR. We post a podcast on there too. Sometimes we do some streams. Who knows what's going to go? Leave a comment there. We're going to talk to you about it. Review us on iTunes. I want more stars, baby. I got 5 stars. You know what? I bet if you guys go right now, stop what you're doing. Hold on. First, unplug the headphone, crank up the volume, go to iTunes, leave a review. Tap 5 enough times on that review, bam, a 6 star is going to pop up. You're going to take us to 6 stars, baby. We're going to be the #1 podcast on iTunes with 6 stars. Do it. Leave a review. We love you. We'll kiss you. I promise. Subscribe to our podcast on any of the apps that you use to subscribe to podcasts. We need to get those analytics up, baby. We need to get those analytics up. Pump us up to the top. We're going to be the top podcast in the nation. I'm looking at you, Joe Rogan. You're next on our list, man. You're next on our list. So if we're not supporting you guys, if we're not supporting the podcast that you want, the app that you want, poke us with a stick. Let us know. We want to get on all the apps. We want to get on all the websites. We want to get on all the catchers. We want to do it all, baby. Destroy us in the comments section when you come to our website. Read our reviews. PlayPSVR.com. Virtual reality is our reality.